What I do is I try to encourage people to ask the right questions, because then the right answers will present themselves by default. Because you can't tell anybody the truth. They won't believe you. Real truth cannot be told. It must be realized. So you've got to encourage people to ask those right questions for that light bulb moment to go off in their head. That's the only thing that's really going to save us, is for people to remember who and what they are. It's an emotional mirror, I've said to people, when I became a radio host, I put myself in the emotional state where I was a radio host, and within 6 weeks I was a radio host. If you want your perfect partner in your life, what would it like to have that person in your life? What would it be like? What would you feel like if that person was in your life? Put yourself in that emotional state where that person is already there, where the prayer has already been answered, and that person will walk into your life. That's the way it works. And I know people that have done that, and they've changed their entire lives by simply putting themselves in the right emotional state. I mean, what would it feel like? There's a guy I know who lives on the Sunshine Coast. He's like, what would it feel like to have a passive income? What would it feel like to own my home? What would it feel like to be with my perfect woman? He owns his home, he's got a passive income, and he's living with this gorgeous woman that just walked into his life. And he's just said to me, wow, like within 2 years, I've just changed my entire reality by changing my emotional input into reality. And he didn't do anything. It just all happened, just all fell into place. So that's the way it works. If we refuse to step outside our moral compass, we can change things. If we put ourselves in the emotional state where things have changed. Even when I look at all this, I see it as a huge opportunity. With all this stuff that's going on, all this bad stuff, I can still see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can see a beautiful future that humanity could move into at the end of this. And so I charge the field with that. I have no stake in the outcome. If humanity destroys itself, well, that's the way it goes. I'm only here for a breath anyway. If that's the way it goes, well, the experiment failed, and we'll do it again another way. So you've got to get rid of all this baggage that people have got, and stop worrying about things so much, and realize just how easily we could change this. Like, it's so simple, brother, that people can't see the forest for the trees. Like I said, they think there's got to be this big thing happen, when it's a simple change of perspective would change everything. All the opportunities are there for you to do it. It's all up to you which one you choose to do. But it's all there. It's all there. It's your choice as to what you want to do. You can completely mess yourself up. We'll give you everything you need to do that, So, but all you got to do is find yourself. And that's half the test, brother. That's half the design. That's half of what this is all about. You've got to have these choices. You've got to have the choice for it to go as absolutely evil as it can possibly be, because then you will never get the choice to make it good if you don't do that. You've got to have the choice to be able to completely mess yourself up. I mean, otherwise, how do you not do that? How do you choose not to do that? How do you ever choose the moral high ground if you don't have the moral low ground there? You've got to have it. So, you can't be too polarized about it, and you can't be too hard on yourself if you've succumbed to temptation along the way and whatever. I mean, it's all part of the learning experience. So, but you've got to have it. You've got to have the bad in order to have the good. If there was no good, there would be no bad. And a lot of people, even with loving themselves, they don't know what love is. They think love is this warm fuzzy thing. It's all fluffy and stuff. It's simply the opposite of fear. That's all it is. Don't be afraid of being yourself. Don't be afraid of your own power. Most people are terrified of their own power. They're terrified of ever standing up and saying, "Hey, excuse me, I don't want to do that. I actually have value, and I'd like to do something else." They're terrified. They're terrified. Just, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full. So I got to do it. He said so. So that's the problem. People are terrified of their own power. And I mean, even public speaking and just everything. Most people are more scared of public speaking than they are of death. They're scared, which means they're actually scared of someone hearing their opinion. Actually, I don't think the same as you, and I think this. Does anyone hate me for it? It's crazy. It's crazy. People are too afraid to be themselves. Like I said earlier on, they're too afraid to live. They're too afraid to die. They're too afraid to be themselves. They're lost in their mind. They're scared of what happened in the past. They're scared of what's going to happen in the future. They don't know what they're doing. So, how do you break them out of that? I mean, you just try to lead by example in what you do and offer them a better way and encourage them to ask the right questions. And hopefully they'll get to that moment where they have that light bulb go off. It's a beautiful thing. This life is a beautiful thing, and people are beautiful and they have so much potential, and it would be a shame if the human experiment was to fail. And I think we have so much potential, and it frustrates me no end, just the simplicity of how easily we could change things. Like a simple shift in perspective. Like I said, we could change the world in 3 seconds if people just had that epiphany. Okay, or if they didn't have the epiphany, if they just stepped into their moral compass, we could change it in a day. Imagine a world where nobody did anything, any legislation or anything which caused them to step outside their moral compass. Just where would all the bad stuff be? Where would all the homelessness be? None of this would happen. None of it would happen, you know, but we're subservient to this system because we're so afraid to be ourselves. And it would be such a shame if the human experiment fails. I mean, if it does, it does. Well, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. But it would be a shame. We have so much potential here. So, yeah, get it together, people. Get it together, humanity. Now is the time. And it's a time of great opportunity. So let's do it. Just believe in yourself. We're at a really important time. So now is the time for you to believe in yourself and, you know, have that power. And we can move this forward. No stake in the outcome, folks. Face infinity without flinching. That's what you came here to do. This is a big test. This is a big moment. So yeah, grab a hold of yourself. It's going to be a good ride.